Welcome to the DeFi Standard, and this is Mickey B. Fresh.
And Patty XRP.
And today we're going to be talking about some of the distribution rate changes with the XFi token airdrop from Flare Finance, and we're going to be reviewing that and some of the delays that have taken place in the airdrop and why they have taken place and what you need to know regarding the airdrop and this rate change. We'll also be going through Panther protocol and their launch of Panther DAO, which also has been slightly delayed. And this is something that in launching software products is to be expected. And these are brand new technologies on new networks. So set dates are always, with a grain of salt when they come. So we just have to be patient here. But let's get into the changes here. What people want to know, Patty, about XFi and this airdrop as the first issued airdrop token on the Songbird Network from Flare Finance.
Yep. So let's start off with one thing, which I guess is probably the most important. And that's the fact that, it's January 2nd or it's January 3rd now, and not everybody has received their XFi airdropped. In fact, I think it's just a few thousand wallets that it's been sent out to. The way that the Flare Finance team has been doing the airdrop is in a way that would take them a long time to complete it. Much longer than a day. So currently they're looking at ways to make it faster, which, I would argue should have been done ahead of time and known about. But, at this point, we just got to let them do it. There's no market for XFi currently. So, there's nothing going on that we're missing out with. And I'd say it's unfortunate. So to touch on this other part that I think probably should have been more clearly communicated from the get-go is how the distribution is taking place. So previously, when they were originally going to do the snapshot, it was back on like November 11th or something like that. It was a while ago. And at that point, the ratio is going to be 235. SGB gets you one XFi token. And as the snapshot's been pushed back and the supply has grown due to inflation, this also means that the ratio has changed and, could have been updated in the blog. I don't know if they had thought about it at the time or what happened there. So the snapshot currently is now based on a 13.4 billion supply, including Songbird, Wrap Songbird, and what Songbird, the Flare Foundation holds, which is going to be a entity that is governed by the Spark holders in the future, and also something we could dissolve if we chose to, just so you guys have a little background on that. And then, so the new total supply accounted for, the ratio has been adjusted to 309.722. Songbird gets you one XFi. It's still going to be a 40 million XFi token drop. So right now we got to see how quickly they can get through this. From one of the devs, they did say like possibly up to Friday. And I think they were trying to extend out how long it would take to make sure that they don't miss another deadline on this. So we'll have to see how quickly it comes. It could take the next several days. And I'm sure you'll see posts online on Twitter and stuff once it's completed if you don't want to just be staring at it all the time.
Can I just touch on one thing why this is a little different than Songbird's airdrop?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I've seen some posts on Twitter. People said, well, why was Songbird able to be distributed so rapidly and so quick? So we just have to keep in mind that Songbird is the native asset of the Songbird network. It is not a smart contract. It is the asset of the network. All these other tokens that are issued, they are smart contracts. So the distribution of XFi is different than how Songbird was distributed. Songbird was distributed as the validators launched up, the tokens were distributed, and that was the launch sequence. This is a distribution of an issued asset in a smart contract form using Avalanche and a new consensus model using Ethereum virtual machine smart contracts. So that's why this is something new. So that's why I think there has been some hiccup on how they want to distribute it, because it is a combination of two different technologies being brought together, and it's kind of the first. And this is why I think having a canary network is good. I agree with you, Patty. The communication could be a little better here, but at the same time, I'll say, receiving tokens for free once again. And it's not like if you receive it a day or two earlier, you're going to have anything to do with it. So if you receive it Friday or you received it Monday, it's not the end of the world, in my opinion. Also to touch on, the Flare Foundation will be burning their supply, right, Patty?
Yeah, so right, they've stated on Twitter that the Flare Foundation is going to burn their entire allocation, which is pretty close to a third of the airdrop size. So this means 16.14 million XFi approximately are going to be burned by Flare Foundation since they're included in the airdrop as kind of like the whole token holders of SGB. And what this means is that the circulating supply for the XFi token, once it's fully out there, is going to be around 24 million instead of 40 million tokens. Additionally, this means, in the future, if the entire supply eventually came onto the market, that it would be right around 94 million rather than 110 million. So that's kind of the changes there in the supply with that going on. So also, it looks like they're going to have XFi available for trading on looks 10 exchanges at least, including BitTrue and CoinTiger. And they will update us as they are able to announce more supporting exchanges. And then with all that, once the XFi tokens are out, that's when the new farming pools will come online as far as earning SFIN rewards in the stability pool or through Flare Farm with different LP tokens, or even directly staking XFi in Flare Farm to earn SFIN. So that'll come online after that. Unfortunately, we just got to wait longer. And I'm hoping, in the future, the communication can be a little better as far as what's going on instead of the day of when they're going to get pounded with requests from people. I think that could help out. Additionally, over the weekend, I know it was the holiday weekend on, Friday and Saturday, but it does seem like there was a pretty large event of redemptions that happened on Flare loans. We can see the nests are about 382 right now. Before this weekend, they were over 700. And then additionally, you can see the borrowing fees gone up, which happens when there are many redemptions going on. And the total collateralization ratio is really high. So we'll have to see. I'm not sure, why the peg is so off that it caused that many redemptions to occur. And I didn't see any huge market moves in the price of SGB that would indicate a lot of liquidation. So hoping to see more metrics around the Canary dollar and where it's trading at relative to other stable coins so we can keep an eye on the peg. So I hope that's something the team will be coming out with in the future with the more releases they have in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, so this is, remember, experimental product suite on the Songbird Canary Network. So right now we have 3 products that are going to be available when XFi comes out. There will be Flare Loans, there will be Flare X, which will now get an additional liquidity pool, which will allow XFi to Canary Dollar. So additionally, on top of those 10 exchanges that will be trading XFi, you will be able to go right onto Flare X's decentralized exchange and swap from, say, Songbird into Canary Dollar into XFi, or XFi into Canary Dollar then into Songbird. So you'll be able to do that right from your Bifrost wallet or your MetaMask. Now, the new product that's going to be available with XFi and the Gamma is going to be the Flare Farm. And now this is going to be the transition from earning DFlare, which is going to be the future YFlare on Flare Finance, on Flare Network, to earning SFIN, which is the main governance token on Songbird Finance on the Songbird Network. So how can you earn SFIN, Patty, once you receive, say, XFi? And I know we covered this in the last video, but it's just going to be a reminder for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way would be to just directly stake XFi in the Flare Farm pool. That's just a single token pool, and that would earn you SFIN, sure, at a lower rate than if you're providing liquidity and staking LP tokens. But, providing liquidity just may not be for you with, all the impermanent loss factors and all the things to take into account when doing so. So that would be an easier way to do it. Additionally, yeah, like Mickey's saying, just remember, we are on Songbird Network. It's the Canary Net. This is XFi experimental finance is going on. So, always think about how much money you're trying to put at risk and stuff like this, especially when you have new systems launching. So,
and especially with the loans, you don't have to use the Flare loans. I would say, this is not financial advice or anything, but I would say the Flare loans component is probably the most risky component to get involved with out of these three different protocols that are available at the moment. So you can avoid the Flare loans and still use FlareX and provide liquidity and earn from the Flare farm. And also, I really want to touch on the XFi token airdrop. Unlike many of the airdrops that have taken place in the XRP ledger, where you receive a token and there's absolutely nothing really to do with that token, what's nice is you'll have XFi, you'll receive it, there's going to be a lower circulating supply, and you'll be able to stake it and be able to earn the main governance token, which is only distributed through the Flare farm and other methods of the native protocol itself, or you'll be able to provide liquidity and earn SFIN that way. So you will have two use cases right out the gate to be able to earn yield, and you also earn the fees from providing liquidity as well. So these are some options that you could do without even having to get involved with Flare loans. If that's something you feel is too high risk right now and you don't want to deal with, you can still get involved with the other protocols. So everyone has a different strategy on how they want to utilize this experimental product suite on Songbird's Canary Network.
All right, so I think that'll wrap it up for the Songbird Finance updates. Now,
Yeah, and I guess the only other thing I would say, Patty, is we don't really. I know people are going to ask about, well, what's the price of XFi? So XFi is
no
coming out
idea.
at $0. You are receiving it $0. There's no price on it. The market will decide that between the 10 exchanges and the arbitrage on the DEX. One thing we can say is the supply is now going to be cut, like you said, a third. So now having only 26 million, that's just 5 million more than Bitcoin. So, I mean, it's going to compare to what we've been seeing with like XRP and Songbird. But that, the market cap, we'll see what that will be when it's out there. But it does have utility out the gate. I think that's important for something that's airdropped. And us as a community, and this will lead into what Patty's going to say here about Panther, is that right now we're dependent on these creators and founders to launch these protocols on top of these networks, right? But once they are launched and they are fully live, it's us, the community, that will be governing them and that will be making the decisions. And it's not going to be the random poster on Twitter who comments who's going to have the influence. It's going to be those who accumulate the most tokens will have the most influence. And that's what will separate the community into those who are the real community and who are just the loud voices and complainers on Twitter. So that's something to expect change in the future. And this comes down to all these networks. And you could explain here with Panther's token generation event launch and how that's going to take place.
Yeah, so from some of the past videos we did recently, Panther Protocol instituted what they called a launch DAO, and they issued pre-ZKP tokens to people that participate in like private and public sales, so they could vote on launching the token generation event and the project to start, getting out there and getting going. That was supposed to be on January 4th. Yesterday, as of January 2nd, Panther Protocol put out an urgent proposal to delay the token generation launch until January 31st. And right now, the voting for that is currently 1.5 thousand pre-ZKP are in favor with only 152 against it. So it looks like this is going to pass. And we'll touch on why they did this. So I guess they've been having, they said basically that they're working very hard to navigate uncharted waters with a decentralized launch. And currently, some of the issues, if they went ahead on January 4th, they have no immediate centralized exchange listings of the token, as well as corresponding market makers at launch pose a high risk of negatively impacting the token's price. So one of the things is they announced that they're partnering with Wintermute, who primarily, they said, does market making activity on centralized exchanges. Also, due to them trying to launch over the holidays, the centralized exchange listings have not completed whatever compliance they have to go through to allow the token to launch on their platform. And they don't want to only launch it on DEXs to start off, as from their analysis, they've seen that negatively impact quite a few projects in the past that they've been looking at. Additionally, they have some outstanding compliance checks, which will delay the release of tokens to a significant number of investors. So these are people that are private or public sale people that still need some touching up on their KYC and AML. So they don't want to release it to, the majority, but then have a bunch of people that don't get it for another month. So they want some more time for that. Additionally, they said they had quite a few key members of the team come down with COVID in the past week or two during the holiday season, and that has caused a lot of issues. And then their CertiK audit, which is ongoing, it has not completely finished due to the holidays. They have a Spaces call on Twitter. If you go on their Twitter account, you can see the recording and listen to hear exactly. It's Oliver Gale, the CEO, and their CFO as well, speaking on that. So that's kind of some of the reasons for delaying or trying to delay the launch. They said they won't do it on their own. They're leaving it up to the community to vote on it. And it looks like they're voting in favor to delay it for these issues. Additionally, they're adding here, so should this proposal to delay pass and to compensate for the delay, the previously planned 3-month ZKP staking rewards pool will be boosted by 33% in lieu of the staking rewards, which would have been available between January 4th and the new token generation event date. So there will be a ZKP staking rewards pool. I'm not entirely sure if this is going to be on Polygon off the bat or if they're going to have it on Ethereum while they kind of launch all the different parts of their protocol. So we'll let you guys know in the future on that, but that will be there in the future if you're a ZKP holder. And additionally, to add to this, there was a really interesting tidbit from Oliver Gale. So Near Protocol and then Flare Network issued them grants, the Panther Protocol team, and Flare issued them the largest grant. So they're prioritizing after they get everything up on Ethereum, integrating into Songbird and Flare Network. So that seems like something we'll definitely see happen this year now, since we're in 2022. But I did find that interesting, and it makes sense because privacy and, especially KYC, AML compliant privacy is going to be huge for institutions that want to participate in the space. And we know Flare is specifically trying to tackle that kind of consumer out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And this partnership, Panther has extended their partnership. So we saw a blog post in, I think it was late November, how they extended their partnership with Flare. And what's interesting here is Panther is a layer 2 protocol. Just for anyone, if you are looking for more information on Panther, we'll post the older videos that we've done on Panther in the past. And Patty's done a couple great solo videos that dive deep into the technicals and, the zero knowledge proofs. But privacy is going to be something that's important when it could happen with compliance. Institutions are going to need this. So what I see with Panther is it's solving a problem that the industry has yet to really solve yet. And being a layer 2 allows ZKP to operate on multiple different chains and will also then give assets like FXRP and assets like Songbird and assets like Spark capabilities to be Z assets in the future, which then give them privacy. And we could see things like dark pools and some really interesting products and things built out in the years to come between these layer 2 protocols like Alliance Block and like Panther on top of things like Flare Network and Songbird. So this connection between them here is something that I think is very interesting. So those who like to stay within the ecosystem of, say, Flare and XRP, Alliance Block and Panther are within that here. And I do like their governance structure, Patty, the way that they're allowing the community to vote. Hey, we're saying as experts that it's probably not the right time to launch right now. We got to fix these things, but it's up to you, the community, to actually vote to make that decision. So that's something that us as future Spark holders are going to have to get used to, because we're going to be doing decisions like that too. It'll be like when the F asset system launched, Hugo's not going to say, it launches today, we're good to go. No, we're going to have to vote it in as Spark holders. So that's something as a community, we're going to have to start getting used to being more interactive as a governance body. And it's just a transition we're going to have to go through as a community as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I personally commend the Panther team for not just saying we're going to cancel the launch DAO, and even knowing, since they went down this path, allowing people to make the ultimate decision, because certainly, people have put in money in a public and private sale, and some people would like to recoup their principal and all that stuff. So that does matter at this point when money's involved. So I think that was a good move by them to allow that. Also, if you listen to their Twitter Spaces call, they say that they really need to work on communication, which I think stands true for tons of projects. But also, I'd say it's a really difficult line to walk, especially when, I mean, almost every project I feel like we look into that's either launched this past year or launching soon have had delays of some kind. I'll go and look at projects and see their original timelines on their white papers or roadmaps, and they're way past what they originally thought. So I think this is something really common in the industry, that projects are taking longer than they intend, whether it's just by mistake because they unforeseen risks. We know there's issues with regulations and all that kind of stuff, and a lot of different pitfalls you can go into. But then also, I see a lot of people online that just absolutely destroy projects, like in comments and stuff. So I think it's a very thin line to walk on, and hopefully as a space, it continues to get better, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's a good point you bring up there, because it is a fine line that founders and creators of these protocols have to walk, because there's the launching of a blockchain like Flare, right? The Flare team is the creators of it. They're going to launch it. It's going to be out there. There's validators. It's going to be decentralized out the gate. But some of these other protocols that are dApps or DAOs or layer twos that are going to be DAOs, they have to walk a fine line between the regulatory front and how much they're going to market these things and how much they're going to balance out. This is a decentralized technology. So you want to market to the community and communicate with the communities involved. And we, as a community, we're at the center of all this. So if you're going to be active in the community, just understand what it means to be a part of that community. And demanding free tokens on Twitter and acting all childish is not really a good look for the community. So at the same time, we do want to keep abreast and on the founders and creators to make sure that they do what they say they're going to do, right? So we want to make sure that they're following through, but at the same time, we want to give them a chance to launch the thing that is being built for us ultimately. And I think there is a difference, Patty, between something that launches with a free airdrop and given to a community compared to something that comes with a token sale, right? So those people who invested in Panther, obviously you couldn't be in the United States, people put up money there, so they expected something. So I think Panther did handle it very well. But when you haven't put up any investment or any money and you're receiving an airdrop, so you just have to be patient. And communication, these are cutting edge technologies. We are at the forefront of new financial system. So when people say the new financial system is being built, you're looking at it right here. See this protocol, Panther? That's the new financial system. Zero knowledge proofs, smart contracts. It's not going to come from the central bank. It's not going to come from CBDCs. This is the foundation of the new financial system. You're looking at it right here. It's all, like Raoul Pal says, one big financial experiment and a bunch of small experiments within that. And that's what crypto and DeFi is. So it's an exciting time, but we also have to be patient. And but it's also our job, Patty, to stay on top of to the creators and founders of these projects to follow through, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, people can, you can make the argument. It's like, all right, well, I bought into another token to get an airdrop, but I think all that stuff needs to be part of kind of your risk parameters when you're going into a decision. It's like, is the value that I'm going to get out of this airdrop worth me piling into a specific asset at this price? People say, oh, it's not free because I lost money because I bought the token that would get me the airdrop and it's lost value since. That's fair, but also that's on you for deciding to do that. You don't have to chase every airdrop. There's tons of airdrops that like I haven't done in the past, especially on the XRP ledger. You really have to pick and choose your spots. Sometimes it makes more sense to trade around an airdrop versus directly participating in it. So I think it's just something you should always keep in mind, like how risky is it to do that if I have to buy into an asset that already has a price and volatility exposure surrounding that.
The last thing I wanted to say, Patty, was about delays in projects. What's the most famous delayed project, I think, in all of crypto? It's probably ETH 2.0. I mean, the first one was built as a demo. It was known not to scale. And at the get-go there, they knew they had to build a 2.0. That thing's been in development for what, 5 years? And there's still no roadmap. It keeps getting missed over and over again. And that's going to be a huge transition there. And that has not followed any of the deadlines. Look at Cardano, delay after delay. Now, is this a bad thing? I think it's frustrating.
Depends.
Yeah,
I'd
it's
say it depends.
frustrating,
Yeah.
I think, to people who are looking forward to it, but you have to look at it from, these are brand new softwares and they're new smart contracts. And, these teams are, things are moving at such a rapid pace. They're trying to keep up, but they prioritize security and safety. And I think sometimes delays, you might say, oh, that's frustrating. It's another month or two, where it's been, 6 more months for Flare to launch when they said they were going to launch. And they didn't do it when they said. But what is the ultimate product going to be? And what is the network going to be when it's all said and done? And that's really when you could make your judgment and say, oh, wow, this is really, and that's what we want to see from Flare. We want to, they're saying it's going to be institutional, enterprise grade, decentralized governance, decentralized consensus, and a fair token distribution through an airdrop. So I don't mind the delays with Flare, because we know that when it comes out, it's going to be enterprise grade, and it's going to have all the capabilities of smart contracts, and it's going to be decentralized out the gate. And then we'll have all the applications, which will be separate on them. So we do have to separate things like Flare Network and Songbird Network from the applications that are built on them. Because we could have great applications and we could have crappy applications. We have great NFTs and not great NFTs. So just like on Ethereum, you have great projects and you have not great projects. So that's just ledger, I think, is going to be huge going into 2022. Jungle made a great video today on that. I thought that was excellent, on how I expect the same thing he does, an explosion in 2022 with Flare, Songbird, and the XRP ledger. And then all these layer twos and DAOs, Patty, I think are going to be huge.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, we'll keep an eye on how quickly XFi takes to get out there. Hopefully we'll see it in the next few days and can get started with the next steps in Songbird Finance. But that'll wrap it up for today's video. This is the DeFi Standard. I'm Patty XRP.
And I'm Mickey B. Fresh.
And we're out. See y'all.